gotta play this tough role. You know what I mean?
I heard you say that. You said you're playing tough up there.
Yeah. That's all he's doing. He's just playing tough.
Him preparing. I think the rematch with Roach versus Gervonta can actually be more exciting than the first one. In my opinion, I've said this many times.
Quoted saying that it doesn't matter how much money a man has, he can still be jealous. Like, why Floyd would be jealous of Gervonta Davis?
At the press conference, Gervonta Tank Davis erupted with visible frustration after Floyd Mayweather appeared to throw his support behind Lamont Roach, an unexpected move that caught many off guard. Davis didn't hold back, openly accusing Mayweather of consistently pulling stunts like this, not just now, but repeatedly throughout their shared history under the same promotional banner. He emphasized that this wasn't an isolated incident but rather a recurring pattern he had endured. Davis conveyed that Mayweather's tendency to show up for other fighters while subtly undermining him had been a long-standing issue, stretching back to their time working closely together. Davis implied that these public betrayals revealed deeper, unresolved tensions that had lingered between them for years, tensions that had now boiled over into the public eye.
Floyd outdoing him. He always been like that. You know what I mean? So I gotta focus on what I'm focusing on. He already did what he had.
Floyd Mayweather, in one particularly memorable and controversial moment, once famously scheduled his own exhibition event to coincide with one of Gervonta Davis's highly anticipated press conferences. This scheduling choice wasn't viewed as a coincidence by many, rather, it appeared to be a deliberate, calculated move by Floyd to overshadow Davis's spotlight and reclaim media attention for himself. In response to this apparent slight, Davis didn't hesitate to publicly accuse Mayweather of jealousy, boldly stating that Floyd repeatedly prioritized maintaining his own relevance and visibility over offering genuine support to his protégé. The clash at this press conference didn't just reveal a momentary disagreement, it illuminated a deep, ongoing rivalry that had been quietly simmering beneath the surface for a long time. For Davis, it was a career milestone tarnished by the actions of someone who was supposed to have his back, while for observers, it was yet another example of the recurring power struggle and unresolved friction between the two boxing figures.
Floyd, I want to switch gears real quick, man. Gervonta said, "I'm not signed to a single soul." So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed to Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Gaethje press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
There was another critical moment when Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis were preparing to face each other in the ring. Shockingly, Floyd Mayweather chose to support Frank Martin instead and even took an active role in training him. According to Davis, Mayweather went so far as to leak key elements of Davis's fighting techniques to Martin, effectively placing Davis in what he described as a lose-lose situation. From Martin's perspective, working with Mayweather was an invaluable opportunity. Martin shared how those intense training sessions under Floyd's guidance during his formative years provided not just technical skills but also essential confidence. With Mayweather's mentorship, Martin absorbed elite-level strategies and reignited his belief that he could successfully compete against top-tier fighters. These endorsements and Mayweather's visible support for Martin painted Floyd as a mentor who was willing to be supportive when it aligned with his own interests.
I remember you talking about doing the pad work with Floyd, and he said you got the speed and the power to be a world champ. What did that do for your confidence? You can hear that from anybody, but Floyd is Floyd.
It was just motivation, you know, because at that time too, man, I ain't had that IQ that I got now. So at that point, I was just really going off natural athleticism. So for him to tell me at that time, getting deeper in my bag, trying to understand the game.
It's not like basketball where you got to depend on people. It's not like football. Like, the work that you put in reflects directly with your results. People don't even know the amount of hours that y'all put into this.
We ain't got no backup. We got a bad day, whatever. We ain't got nobody to come through for us. It's all on you.
Davis continued to voice his deep frustration with what he perceived as Mayweather's chronic unwillingness to fully celebrate or embrace the success of others, particularly his own protégés. Davis interpreted this pattern as a reflection of Floyd's ego, an ego that seemingly could not tolerate anyone else standing in the spotlight. Davis argued that this same attitude likely contributed to Mayweather's hesitance to endorse the rematch between Davis and Lamont Roach. According to Davis, Floyd consistently prioritized safeguarding his own legacy and public prominence rather than advancing Davis's career or celebrating his achievements. This, Davis claimed, actively hindered his opportunities and revealed a growing misalignment of interests within what was once considered a unified and loyal camp. The distance between them seemed to grow as the conflict over recognition and career control intensified.
You know, so I don't want Tank to necessarily leave Mayweather. I think he's in this position because of everything that Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe have done for him. So I do want him to do what he is saying. Take control of your career. Say that you want Shakur and actually fight Shakur. Say that you want Devin and actually fight Devin. You know, fight these guys. Don't keep making new names. Like, you gave Barrios a chance. You gave Isaac a chance. Like, you know, Gamboa. Like, those aren't the fights that we want.
During his sparring sessions with Devin Haney, Davis alleged that Floyd Mayweather would often intervene in an oddly timed fashion, repeatedly interrupting the sessions just as Davis was beginning to establish dominance. These interruptions, Davis noted, occurred almost systematically whenever he started to gain the upper hand, leading him to suspect that Mayweather was favoring Haney and perhaps seeking to protect him from Davis's superior performance. The frequent disruptions left Davis increasingly frustrated, as he felt these moments robbed him of crucial learning experiences and competitive growth. To Davis, it seemed as though Mayweather's mentorship had become selectively skewed toward developing other fighters, rather than genuinely investing in his growth as the premier protege. These incidents further deepened Davis's belief that Mayweather's guidance was no longer centered on his success.
Floyd outdoing him. He always been like that. You know what I mean? So I gotta focus on what I'm focused on. He already did what he had to do, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Me, if I did what I like what he did in the sport, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be the same way. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't follow him for like stand to himself and things like that. You know what I mean? But it's also a part of me type thing, like come back and help too. You know what I mean? So it's much love to the whole Mayweather promotion. You know what I mean? Ain't no bad blood type shit. And a lot of people think like when I be tweeting on Instagram, I be mad. I just be talking.
Sources with direct knowledge of the situation have confirmed that the friction between Davis and Mayweather is neither new nor trivial, it's a long-standing, complex tension. The two boxing figures have clashed numerous times, particularly over fighter selection and training strategies. Reports suggest that Mayweather frequently questioned Davis's decisions, even when those decisions involved significant financial gain or critical legacy-defining opportunities. Despite these disagreements, Davis has shown remarkable discipline and a sharpened focus in preparation for his next fight, drawing praise from boxing insiders. Interestingly, even Floyd Mayweather, often seen as critical of Davis, appears to have been taken aback by Davis's heightened commitment. Davis is fully aware of the stakes. He understands that another misstep at this point could do irreversible damage to his reputation and career.
So the Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach rematch is being targeted for June 21st in Las Vegas. Now it's good that they're running it back without wasting any time because Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. I mean, I thought he outboxed Tank the last time around. He came up a division as a gigantic 10-1 underdog. And he was the one on the front foot, landing his jab, the body shots, the combinations, throwing a lot more volume. I had it 7-5 Roach, and the no knockdown in round 9 was the reason it was a draw. If that knockdown was scored, that would have been a decision for Roach. But with all that being said, I do like Tank a lot more in the rematch. I thought he fought way too much on the back foot in the first fight, especially the first few rounds. He would land 1 or 2 punches per round. But as he started becoming the aggressor in the later rounds, he kept landing a lot more left hands and body shots. So Tank just needs to make this a dogfight, get into more exchanges, and that's where he'll land a lot more punches on Roach. When he's sitting on the back foot waiting for a counter, that's where Roach is comfortable and winning most of the rounds. So if Tank can fight the same way he did against Ryan Garcia, rounds 3 to 7, against Mario Barrios in the later rounds, or Frank Martin round 4 to 8, if he's the one on the front foot, then I do think he'll stop Roach in the...
Public excitement for the anticipated rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach has reached an all-time high. Boxing analysts have highlighted several unresolved issues from their first encounter, pointing to controversial stoppages, judging inconsistencies, and tactical uncertainties that demand resolution. A definitive rematch is now considered essential to clear up the lingering doubts. Las Vegas has quickly emerged as the leading venue choice, offering a global platform and high-stakes environment fitting for such a pivotal showdown. Experts believe this second fight won't simply determine who walks away with a win, it could very well redefine the legacy and trajectory of both fighters. For Davis, the rematch is a chance at personal and professional redemption. For Roach, it presents a vital opportunity to validate his rise as a legitimate, world-class contender.
Lamont Roach throwing his hands fast as hell. He's in the gym preparing. I think the rematch with Roach versus Gervonta can actually be more exciting than the first one. In my opinion, I've said this many times, the actual fight itself wasn't that crazy. The crazy thing is what you've never seen before, the knee. As far as a boxing match, it was, if you look at the copy box, they didn't throw a lot of punches. It wasn't like, it wasn't really a great fight. But as far as the fight itself, this second one can't, because I think Tank is coming for blood. He's not going to pull his punches at all. I don't think he really did the first time, but I'm not sure how well he prepared or how mentally focused he was. I think you're going to get the very best Tank in a rematch, and you may just get an even better Lamont Roach, since Lamont Roach don't have to speculate if he's good enough. He fought Tank. He has more confidence now than he did before, and he felt that he was robbed. So he's going to be on one. I think the rematch is going to be far more exciting.
The controversy surrounding Davis's departure from Mayweather Promotions ignited further public scrutiny when internal disagreements about Davis's career direction became widely known. Mayweather, a seasoned promoter, had envisioned a carefully curated developmental path for Davis, one that balanced risk with exposure. However, Davis wanted something different. He sought full control over his fight selections and career decisions. This fundamental clash between Floyd's structured vision and Davis's demand for autonomy brought deeper tensions into sharp focus, highlighting the complex battle between loyalty and self-determination. By choosing independence, Davis embraced both the liberating freedom and the significant risks that came with it. His highly publicized exit underscored just how fragile the line can be between mentorship and management within the fiercely competitive world of elite boxing.
Tank said, "I'm not signed to a single soul." So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's father, offered candid reflections on the aftermath of the Davis-Roach fight. While Jeff admitted that the decision surprised him, he firmly stated that it wasn't a robbery. He continued to express genuine admiration for Davis's abilities and achievements, but also acknowledged an important shift. Lamont Roach's performance may have significantly diminished Davis's aura of invincibility. According to Jeff, the perception within boxing circles has now changed. Other fighters are beginning to view Davis as a beatable opponent, no longer the untouchable force he once appeared to be. His honest assessment reveals that even those closest to the Mayweather camp are grappling with the rapidly evolving dynamics of power and dominance within the sport.
Jeff Mayweather here at the Mayweather Boxing Club. How are you doing, sir?
Okay.
You don't look okay. All right, well, we got this potential rematch everybody wants to see, Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. First of all, are you surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two? Because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. Me, myself, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. I was shocked at the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I have Roach winning the fight.
Do you consider it robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. I mean, the fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
All right. Talking about this rematch, what do you? I mean, so the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, and not being a big puncher himself, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him.
And do you think that's almost something that can play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day. You know, everybody has an off day, and take them.
Yeah, everybody can have an off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that they did fight each other when they were young, growing up, when they were kids.
Members of Lamont Roach's team have openly criticized referee Steve Willis for his handling of critical moments during their initial fight. Roach's camp contends that Willis failed to properly score pivotal sequences that should have been awarded to Roach, ultimately shaping the fight's narrative in Davis's favor. They argue that it wasn't simply in-ring performance that determined the outcome, it was the officiating missteps that played an outsized role. These persistent complaints continue to cast a shadow over the legitimacy of the original result and have fueled mounting calls for a rematch that can deliver clarity and fairness, free from the influence of questionable refereeing.
Obviously, the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, you know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
but you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye, spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref.
No time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know how many
Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben out of that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like, who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like, he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. Right. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight.
Shakur Stevenson, widely regarded as a top-tier lightweight, has added his voice to the ongoing discussion with glowing praise for Lamont Roach's fight performance. Having personally sparred with Roach, Stevenson spoke from experience, highlighting Roach's exceptional defensive skills and high-level ring intelligence. Stevenson predicted that Roach's tactical approach, combining rapid footwork with disciplined technique, would significantly limit Davis's offensive opportunities in a potential rematch. His endorsement adds considerable weight to the growing narrative that this is not a one-sided matchup. Instead, it's shaping up to be a sophisticated chess match, where Roach's adaptability and tactical sharpness could prove more effective than simply relying on Davis's raw knockout power.
Both saying, like, you know, that's something that y'all would do. You sparred Lamont before, right?
For sure, yeah. Actually, he was the one who got me ready for Oscar Valdez.
Oh, Lamont Roach did?
Lamont Roach was the guy who really got me ready for that fight.
What was the work like?
It was good work. You know, honestly, that was one of the reasons why I bet tonight. Because I knew what I was in the ring with. Like, I knew that he wasn't no pushover, he wasn't no slouch. And when I seen that, I said, okay, when he fight Tank, I know that it's going to be the fight that I assumed it to be honest.
Hold on, because you was saying that, I ain't gonna lie, you was on Twitter been saying, like, you feel like, I don't know, you didn't say Lamont was gonna win, but you just kept making it like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what you were saying, but you kept alluding to Lamont was gonna do something. So, like, you saying you seen this, the way the fight played out based on how your sparring session went?
I'm not gonna say how the sparring session went just because of the fact that I'm a different fighter than what Tank is.
Yeah.
And it's like sparring and fighting two different things. But I knew
what I was up against when I was sparring him. Like, I knew the skill level. And I also, like, I watch boxing, so I'll go back and watch. And these guys go back and watch, and they looking like, okay, well, he was in front of this guy, so it was this, but styles make fights. And I know that Tank is shorter. He's fast, but Lamont got good defense. And I just knew exactly how that fight was gonna go. I told everybody that Lamont was gonna be the one pushing forward. Tank was gonna be the boxer, and it literally looked exactly how I thought it was gonna look.
How did you see the actual fight? Like, let's break it down, because you was ringside. You sat. I saw you on Twitter. They showed the videos of you ringside. What did you see in the fight?
Shit, I kind of seen Lamont winning. I really felt like he was in control of the fight.
On the other hand, former world champion Gary Russell Jr. offered a more measured and critical analysis. He acknowledged that Lamont Roach certainly matched Davis in terms of punch volume and effort, but argued that Roach didn't do enough to convincingly sway the judges in every round. For Russell, a true and undeniable victory requires a fighter to establish clear dominance throughout the fight, round after round, something Roach narrowly failed to achieve in their first meeting. His perspective suggests that while the initial contest was tightly contested, the rematch must deliver a decisive outcome, one that leaves no room for debate or split opinions.
Doing the interview circuit, right, kind of being a little bit out of character leading into the rematch. Do you think, and this is what Mill City asked, do you think that is something you guys are taking in consideration in preparation for the fight? And what Kenny Ellis said was, look, man, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We know what Lamont Roach brings to the table, and he says that Lamont Roach is, we're not believing that he's out there drinking or blowing up a bunch of weight and all of that. You know, he says what most people say, hey, we're going to prepare for the best version of Lamont Roach that is going to, that'll come for us. But the way that he saw the fight coming out was he said he sees it like the fight before, a lot of really crisp shots landing. And the fight is going to be similar, but hey, the fight at the same time is going to be very different. Now, I just happen to have a very good friend named Phoenix the Assassin who breaks down fights for me. He's a trainer, got a world-class eye for fights. And what he speculated should be the difference between the first fight and the second fight for Gervonta is that Gervonta is going to need to spend a lot more time fighting on the outside and scoring points for a longer period of time on the outside, and then making sure that, and basically forcing Lamont Roach to try to initiate something with slower hands, score his points, and get out. And he said the reason that he believes that Lamont Roach would be able to do that.
As the rematch approaches, Gervonta Davis has committed himself to an exceptionally rigorous and methodical training camp, specifically designed to address and correct the gaps exposed in their first fight. Every punch, every defensive drill, and every conditioning session has been strategically crafted to position him for absolute dominance. Davis is no longer simply aiming for a win, he's pushing for a commanding, statement-making performance that leaves zero doubt about his supremacy in the division. He understands that escaping with a narrow or questionable victory this time will not suffice. Davis is preparing for a performance so decisive, likely aiming for a knockout, that it will firmly re-establish him as the undeniable force at the top of his weight class.
Everybody really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident, because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he gonna go in there confident, thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he can get you on that button, them lights going off, I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's gonna fold. You going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's gonna get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much, you was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont, this from the same camp, we from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up. Because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that like got to step back from the situation. That's why I think he's being hushed right now. Because when he come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary, because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this gonna be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning. Like when he was with Floyd, like I'm talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got like, you know, a little bit more in the boxing, you know, thing. Of course, once you with Floyd, you're gonna start being flashy and doing back.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.